60 Minutes Rewind.
Did you ever hear the one about the New Yorker who, even in the best of times, was famous for focusing on life's little annoyances? A global pandemic hit, and here's the punchline, he turned into a pillar of optimism. So it goes for that titan of comedy, Jerry Seinfeld. Now 66, Seinfeld has halted his sold-out stand-up tour due to COVID. His latest successful show, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, is also on hiatus. Like many of us, he's been sheltering at home with family. But that hasn't stopped him from doing what he's always done, helping himself to life's absurdities and meticulously spinning them into comedic gold. The observational comic, almost by definition, sees the world differently. We spent a day in September with Seinfeld and found out how he sees things in the year 2020.
Hey, John.
Nice to see you.
Greeting Jerry Seinfeld can be uncomfortable under normal circumstances.
Do one of these?
I don't know. That doesn't do anything.
Then you factor in COVID.
No more handshakes, no more hugs.
You're not into the elbows.
Nah. It's a poor substitute.
Are you seeing comedy in this mess?
I did write some things down. Oh, the thing about that the first thing they told us, remember, they don't say it anymore, but they said, don't touch your face. Okay, so we're going to stop the whole world, and you can't do this. But don't do this. How do you not do this when they tell you we're shutting down the world, but don't go, oh, my God. Oh, my God.
When we asked Seinfeld where he'd like to spend the day, he said Queens, halfway between his hometown of Massapequa, Long Island, and his current address in Manhattan. This park was the site of the 1964 World's Fair, which Seinfeld visited as a boy.
You know, the World's Fair was always about, we're going to perfect the world. It's going to be easy, and we're going to do it, and here's what we're going to do. And it's going to be great. And when you're 10 years old, you believe that. And I don't think that completely foolish optimism has ever left me.
We found Jerry Seinfeld downright upbeat to be out of the house and in front of a camera for the first time since COVID.
Are we okay with this?
Even with the aggravation of planes flying overhead.
Now we're in showbiz. Now we're back.
See, we thought they were going to call off the...
This is really being back. Hold for plane.
Show business has been his business for 5 decades. When 60 Minutes checked in with Seinfeld in the 90s, he was in the thick of his wildly successful sitcom.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Seinfeld.
The series grew out of Seinfeld's observational style of stand-up.
Waterproof watch, that's important. Gee, I'm completely out of oxygen, and look at the time. Now I'm dead and I'm late.
He first honed his craft on Manhattan's comedy club circuit.
What was it like coming into the city to perform?
It was like when the doors open on the Emerald City in The Wizard of Oz. And I would gulp so hard. Oh, my God. I'm going into the grown-ups place. And not just going in there, I'm gonna go on stage there.
Did it live up to your expectations?
Sure, still does. I am so madly in love with New York City. I didn't know how to be. And in New York, they say, this is how you do, this is what you do. Here's how to be. Be cranky and be loud and be funny. And complain, and suffer, and make fun of everything and everybody. That's how you be.
This city he romanticizes, Seinfeld remembered seeing a miniature replica of New York at the World's Fair as a kid. The model is still on permanent exhibit at the Queens Museum, and since we were right there,
wow,
he wanted to take another look. We were allowed past the perimeter through a hidden entrance for a VIP perspective.
I guess this is the way God looks at things. My first apartment would be right there.
His civic pride is such that when a local comedy club owner posted an essay on LinkedIn this past summer claiming New York City would never bounce back from COVID, Seinfeld was moved to write a rebuttal.
Is New York dead?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
When you were a kid, remember kicking over the anthill? That's
Sure.
what just happened to us. They just kicked over the whole anthill. And what do the ants do? All right, hand me the next crumb, let's get back to work. And by the way, I have nothing against that guy. He's fine. I didn't like that nobody was rebutting it. And I realized, oh, I guess that's my job. Somebody, a real New Yorker has to answer this.
You called him some putz on LinkedIn.
I don't even know what LinkedIn is. That's who that guy is for the rest of his life. Oh, look who's here. The putz from LinkedIn.
But you felt the need to defend your turf?
I just don't want New Yorkism to die. I don't want it to be replaced by
By what?
deep concern and over-sentimentality. You can have those things, but be a little badass too. We don't care that things are tough. Everything's always tough. It's tough to live here.
Got a little blowback for that. That, oh, he's out in the Hamptons writing about New York. Did you
shut
expect
up.
that?
Sorry, I did better than you. My apologies.
Hash it over.
Got a laugh from the camera guy.
Getting a laugh was the ultimate currency for Seinfeld, growing up as he did in a middle-class Jewish household.
Were your folks funny?
Yes, my dad particularly. Wildly funny. Like if there be a fly would land on your soup and somebody would go, ooh, and he'd go, how much could he eat?
What was their parenting style?
Complete neglect. Absolute, total neglect. It worked for me. It made me very independent. They were both orphans, so they had a natural independence.
Both your parents were orphans.
Yes.
What impact do you think that had on your family growing up?
It's fantastic. Complete self-reliance. That was expected. Now, you know, you end up having to raise yourself in a lot of ways. I don't know how to hold a fork, or I can't make a sandwich. 18 years, not a hint of what to do.
For someone who couldn't make a sandwich, he's done all right.
I could see directly into the eye of the great fish.
Mammal.
Whatever.
Seinfeld the series has made more money in syndication than any other comedy.
Who's driving?
You are. I can't get that thing in my car.
My parents, they did not know where my school was.
In 2017, Seinfeld signed an estimated $100 million deal with Netflix to run 2 comedy specials and a series no streaming service wanted at first.
Why does comedians in cars getting coffee work?
I think it works because comedians don't like to chit-chat. We like to really talk about something.
People say disgusting things to me because they think I'll like it.
And I wanted to show this other part of my world, of hanging out with these people and how fun it is.
His latest project, the guy who famously did a show about nothing, has a new book titled, Is This Anything? Seinfeld explained that's what comedians ask each other when they're working on new material. Published by Simon & Schuster, part of Viacom CBS, the book is a primer on joke writing.
I'm not a autobiography kind of guy, but what I'm interested in is craft and technique and approach to doing an art. And being able to look at how these bits are built, you could kind of learn, oh, I see why that word is here.
Are there words that are objectively funny?
Oh, LinkedIn. Putz. I mean, LinkedIn, if I was to break it down, it's the K's and the N's and the L's, and it's new. And I mean, if you want me to go further, I will. You're taking a Yiddish word from the 18th century and you're putting it with LinkedIn. That's what a laugh is. It's a chemical explosion.
A little shtetl, little Silicon
little
Valley.
shtetl, little internet. The Yiddish language is the greatest gold mine of comedy ever. Every word is funny.
Putz notwithstanding, Seinfeld has always kept his act clean.
The buffet is like taking your dog to Petco and letting your dog do the shopping.
At a time when many comedians have had to apologize for causing offense, he considers it part of his job description to accommodate changing standards.
What do you say to some of your colleagues who say, like, everyone's so sensitive, you can't joke about anything anymore?
They're always moving the gates, and you got to make the gates. And it is always difficult, changing, sometimes unfair, sometimes not right. Lenny Bruce dealt with what he had to deal with, and we have to deal with what we have to deal with.
The story will continue after this.
It was time for a break in our interview, and Seinfeld focused his powers of observation on us.
Well, we got to do the walk and talk. You have to see people walking on 60 Minutes. We want to know can this person walk? Let's see it. I don't know why. You never do a thing on 60 Minutes without, watch them walk. Look at that, they're walking.
And
Yeah.
sure enough,
It's so beautiful.
Seinfeld has spent the last 2 decades growing into another role.
Hello.
Hello, you look so perfect.
Thank you
Family man.
very nervous here, Jerry.
He and his wife Jessica have 3 teenage children and lead a largely private life.
Are you wearing your white socks
Yeah.
on TV? Oh.
Yeah.
She is more complimentary of his co-parenting skills.
Stand-up seems like such an individual sport. How is he as a teammate?
I will tell you that it was a slow build. It wasn't natural. And when we first had children, he had absolutely no idea what to do.
The look on their face was, is anyone helping you? Because I didn't seem to be connected to anything that was going on.
But you say he's hit a stride now that he's parenting teenagers.
He wasn't one of those dads who wore a front carrier. He grew up in the 50s, but now he is much better at this age than I am at this age.
Yeah, that's true. I never looked at it that way. We've kind of...
Switched roles.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Jessica runs Good Plus, a foundation she started almost 20 years ago as a used stroller and baby goods drive. Good Plus now helps 50,000 low-income families with a focus on engaging dads. And she does it despite some household distractions.
I think maybe that he misses being on stage, and when he and his friends are on the phone, they just yell. And it is something to live with.
You know, a lot of times when you could say the same thing louder, it's funnier when you say it louder. Why would you do that? It's stupid. Right?
Yeah, it's that.
With the home of his other great love just a few hundred yards away, we asked Seinfeld if he had considered putting in a bid this year when the New York Mets were up for sale.
I don't have the money.
Would you if you did?
No. Absolutely not. Why? Why? So I could have more people yelling at me on the street when they lose? The ultimate peak experience of a baseball game is a seat, a hot dog, and a beer. There's nothing above that.
He'll have to wait to sit in the stands with a hot dog, just as his fans will have to wait until the pandemic is over to watch Jerry Seinfeld perform in person.
This will be funny. Comedians will figure out what we can say and can't say when we get back in front of audiences.
How's this going to work?
I don't think it's going to work for a while. I don't like compromised versions of things. I want the real thing, the authentic thing. I want the pure hit. I want the real drug. I want real New York pizza. So I'll wait.